Je passe maintenant la parole à Monsieur Amre Moussa. Étant donné l'expérience des décennies, j'allais dire passées, je n'ose à peine lui demander ce que l'Europe pourrait faire au Moyen-Orient, quel pourrait être son rôle, quelle pourrait être sa valeur ajoutée, mais puisque nous parlons des perspectives, il faut bien poser cette question.
Well, thank you for the question, very important one. But I intend to start by referring to this very important statement made by my old colleague and friend Mani Shankar Iyer about Eurasia and talk about the Mediterranean dimension of Europe rather than the Asian dimension. Although this is a compliment for Europe that Asians, Mediterraneans, Latin Americans are all talking about or calling for a special relationship with Europe. So this is a sign that we give a lot of importance to the European Union and enjoy also or feel a lot of respect for the work of the EU, although we have many question marks. I will deal with 3 or 4 points on that issue. Well, the Mediterranean Society of Nations will have to be re-established with not only, or not, rather not the leadership of European Union, but partnership between European Union and different entities in the Mediterranean, like the Arab League, like other organizations, and like individual countries. And here I want to second or third the motion that Turkey is an important example, and all of us are looking, following the line of policy taken by the EU vis-à-vis the Turkish demand for membership. I even go further. If Turkey has a certain geographical claim, Egypt, for example, does not have this geographical claim when we talk about a special relationship with the European Union. The neighborhood policy did not do the trick. The neighborhood policy is looked at as a weak, reluctant, and perhaps discriminatory in several of its manifestations, compared to Eastern Europe, compared to certain areas of importance to the European Union. I advanced the idea of, let us talk about a new type of membership, virtual membership. A country like Egypt or Tunisia, or one of the Mediterranean countries that are non-Europeans, definitely non-Europeans, would like to have a certain partnership under the title virtual membership. So we talk about files, we talk about administrative reform, we talk about financial reform, we talk about political reform, we talk about political understanding and debates and constant debates between the European Union and the countries of the Mediterranean in order to establish a new relationship far from being through the invitation by the EU, leadership by the EU, but it is the desire of the others to establish a well-balanced and could be productive relationship, virtual membership. The positions taken by Europe so far on issues of vital importance, like the situation in the Middle East, even before the call for change, the revolutions for change, the Palestinian question, the Arab-Israeli conflict. When you read the statements of the European Union at all levels, you can find a case to praise the European Union for their positions that are different than the American positions, for example. They take a more reasonable stance. But it does not go beyond the statement. In so many cases, so many instances, it was only the statements, but not practically followed. Perhaps, as was mentioned now, that the European Union will have no effective voice until they get the seat in the Security Council under the name Europe. Right. But until then, because it could be an impossible proposition for the time being, as we see it for the time being. Not because it is impossible by itself, per se, but because of the positions of Britain and France vis-à-vis this issue. Therefore, are we going to wait until Europe achieves this impossible task in sometime in the distant future? Where is the European position when it comes to issues that have interests, direct interests to the Europeans as independent from the American policy? It was mentioned also earlier at this session that Europe cannot cope with a quick pace with the immediate crisis or sudden crisis that would happen. Yes, indeed. Sometimes it is very difficult. You have to run. But the Euro crisis is not the crisis of today or yesterday. The change in the Middle East, the change in the Arab world now is 18 months old. And until now, there is no policy. Until now, we don't hear, we don't feel the European contribution to such a solution. So this is also a question that we have to bear in mind, that we live in the same area. We look for Europe, to Europe as a strong partner if they can really contribute. We feel they can contribute, but they don't. Finally, yes, there is something to say about the relations between the European Union and the dictatorships. And the real position vis-à-vis the effort to democratize the Middle East. The democratization seemed to be not to be the priority now. The priority is for security, strategic considerations, special interests, but then comes democracy. So this hierarchy of priorities should be reconsidered by Europe in order to be involved vitally in issues of today. Finally, a word to my erstwhile colleague from Hungary. Yes, indeed, Europe should be blamed for that relationship with dictators and support for dictators, but Socialist International did the same. You invited parties of the one-party system in so many countries that they enjoyed such a partnership, such a forum. This should be also reconsidered. And the story should be told and explained why Socialist International and the socialist parties have acted in that way, not very much supporting democracies, but supporting the status quo as it existed at that time. Thank you.